Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is an N-Gage layout update on the German-Austrian outline minimum space layout that I'm building, and just a couple of things to tell you. Some track modification that I mentioned in the first video, and also a purchase. Well, it's not a purchase, it's something I picked up quite a while ago and forgot that I had it. So let me take you round and show you what I've been doing. So you remember in the first video, for those that have seen it, I mentioned that the access from the fiddle yard going round into the terminus station, the track work wasn't very well worked out, and it meant that trains in two of the fiddle yard roads were unable to access all of the platforms, and trains in the other two fiddle yard roads could access pretty much everything. Well, I've made a modification on that to make it easier for all trains in the fiddle yard to access all platforms and vice versa. So let me just show you what I've been doing. So you remember over here, the fiddle yard. Now the two tracks leave the scenic area and they were curving round and literally just going into 4 tracks. Well, I've made a slight modification. I've remodeled that bit there. So I've taken out one of the turnouts, and I've made the 2 tracks merge into one, and then we have another set of turnouts here which lead into a 5-road fiddle yard. I've added an extra road because I found some old set track which was in pretty good nick still, so I thought, right, I'm going to use that. So we have a 5-road fiddle yard at the back there, which goes along to the end of the baseboard, and that will accommodate the longest trains and other sort of shorter trains. I've glued the track and also pinned it down because I've been using Pico track pins, and my experience with those is they're a bit too long and they just buckle straight away. So I was getting a bit worked up and earlier on using some choice industrial language. So I've pinned down most of it, but the last few bits I've glued, and then just used a couple of pins where the track is sort of flexed, just to hold it in place there. I've also extended these 2 kickback fiddle yard sidings by adding a couple of bits of track on the end there, just for a bit of extra length there. So I'm happy with the track layout now. The fiddle yard looks okay. I'll just take you around here. There's the extension there, glued in place, and there's the fiddle yard fanning into the 5 tracks that go down to the end of the baseboard. So I'm happy with that. So that means all trains in the fiddle yard now can run out of the hidden section, round onto either of these tracks. Both these tracks here are bi-directional running, and they can basically access all of the platforms. And I've just got a couple of items of rolling stock out. Bit of an Austrian theme today. So there's an Austrian loco there ahead of an OBB Express with Eurofima coaches, which are a standard European design used by a number of companies. They're good coaches. They've been around for a few years. I've been on them, and I think they probably would equal the British Outline Mark II air conditioner or Mark III coaches. They're pretty good coaches, comfortable. The Swiss use them. I think the French use them. Austrian, so a number of companies use them. And there's a class 1020 Crocodile there. That's a classic loco. That one I picked up quite a while ago. That's actually an Arnold model, quite an old model, that made in the former West Germany, that one. There it is. And some coaches there. Now another item which I bought quite a while ago and forgot all about, which I found, is this Kato TGV with the extension pack. It's N-Gage, obviously. Very, very good model, this. I think Bachmann and Lima did an N-Gage version, but the Kato version is an excellent model, and yes, I said this layout was sort of German-Austrian themed, but I think I can allow for the TGV to run in because they do run internationally. I think SNCF have TGVs going to other countries like the Germans do with their intercity express units, so there is a cross-border thing there. So I can get away with allowing that, along with the mainstay of traction will be German outline, but I've got some Austrian bits and pieces, and also the French TGV, so I can allow for that operation as well. That would give added operational interest, and it just means that it's more interesting to operate. The whole 10 coach formation of the TGV will fit into the outside fiddle yard line there, and my Trans-Europe Express stock will also fit in the second track there, so I've got plenty of storage. So I can have 5 trains in the fiddle yard now, 2 in the kickback, 4 in the terminus at the start of an operating session, so that's 11 train movements in and out, operated to a proper timetable. So this layout is coming on. The next job that I need to do is ballast the track, because you need to bring a layout to life by doing that. I can't leave it like this because it doesn't look right. The next stage of a layout is to get the ballast down. It's a fiddly job, I hate doing it. I'm probably not going to ballast the point work, maybe just up to where the blades are and at the end of them, but I need to get that done, so that will be the next job, to get the ballast done. I also need to concentrate on the back seam here, because at the moment it's just a rather sort of hastily done sort of cardboard back seam. That's my method. I do that. I got some old packaging, put it up there. Yes, it looks a bit hopscotch if you like, but once the actual back seam is on, you won't really see it. So that's what I'm planning to do as well as another job. And then obviously the terminus itself, the platform oval roofs, as I mentioned in the first video, will be Pico 00 British outline, because even though they're 00, they're overscale, they'll look more grand for an end scale terminus. So that will be the next jobs, which I should be getting on with, because I'm waiting for the 00 gauge baseboards to be knocked up and installed in the next couple of weeks. So I've got a bit of extra time. I've got the material, so in the next sort of 2 weeks I should be able to get the track ballasted and PVA'd up. And the track layout now is finished. I'm happy with it. I just made that modification over there, as mentioned, because I looked at it when the 2 tracks were coming round, just going into a rather hastily done 4-track fiddle yard. I think I did that because I'd done the main part of the layout, and then I thought, in a rush job, I'll just do the fiddle yard. That looks okay. That's a note to self and anybody else out there to take your time over the track laying, because I've made mistakes in the past with being too hasty getting the track down, and then when it comes to like the fiddle yard, just laying down track, leaving it, thinking it's okay, then going back later on, as I did here, thinking, hang on a minute, that's not going to quite work, because you've got trains here that, as it was, would only be able to access certain platforms. So I've had to think about the actual layout and the actual fiddle yard, and the storage area off scene is the rest of the railway network, if this was real. So it's got to be workable, got to have trains in there that can come and go with ease of access. So doing that like that, just there, that's going to be where my controller is going to go in there. There's a gap there for the wires. I'm also going to have the other kickback line here going into the terminus. I will be using crocodile clips on the end of a wire, which will basically go on the end of whichever of these tracks I'm using, to allow operation in and out. And I've got a couple of cheap Hornby single track controllers which I can use for that. This is just an analog DC layout. As mentioned, no frills, no point motors, total analog hand operated points. It's an old school layout. Yes, there are fantastic layouts on YouTube with point motors, DCC control, you know, the whole makeup. Well, it's whatever takes your fancy, really. I mean, yes, that's all great. You know, I do have a couple of DCC locos that work on analog, surprising enough with sound as well, but obviously you can't radio control them. Yes, it's a good idea. The hobbies come on leaps and bounds, but certainly for this layout, it's manageable enough because of its size. I can just get away with it being analog, so I'm not going to, you know, go down that route. So yeah, I'm happy with progress on this. Getting the fiddle yard remodeled was the main job which I had to do, which I've done. So now it's down to ballasting the track, doing the scenics. I haven't actually tested anything on here yet, which you might be thinking is a bit odd if I'm ballasting the track. Well, the everything runs, the electrics are okay, trains, rolling stock, all the track is brand new here. The turnouts I picked up a while ago. I've been picking up the odd few here and there. The flexi track was brand new. I brought that quite a long time ago. So I know that, you know, I've laid the track down, everything is fine. So I'm going to crack on and ballast it. If there's any problems with the turnouts, because I'm not going to be ballasting those, then, you know, I can sort that out. But anyway, that's it for this update. And I'll keep you posted on future progress. Thanks a lot.